Welcome back to Faces and Places across the United States. This week's guest is Lynn in Greensboro, North Carolina, talking to Sandra. Welcome back, Sandra.
Thank you, Melissa. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Faces and Places across the United States. My name is Sandra, and I'll be your host today. Today, I'll be talking to our guest, Lynn. Hi, Lynn.
Hi, how are you doing, Sandra?
I'm doing very well. Thank you so much for being here. It is wonderful to have you here in our American English at State Facebook page. We are delighted that you have joined us for this web chat today. Before we begin, we would like to ask our audience, where are they joining us from today? Please let us know in the comments box. Lynn, thanks again for being here. Why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from and where are you now?
Well, where I am from is a bit of a difficult question because I have lived a number of different places. I've lived in 7 different states and I have lived in 8 different countries. And so I guess, though, that I would have to say that North Carolina is home because I've probably spent about half of my life here in North Carolina.
Wow, it's great to hear that you have been into so many different countries and different places, but this is kind of like your adopted hometown now.
Yeah. I've lived here, as I said, about 50% of my life. So I think I have to call it home.
You have to call it home now. So tell us a little bit about North Carolina. Did you know what the nickname is for this state, and do you know why?
Yes, I actually do. It is called the Tar Heel State. And the reason for that is North Carolina was one of the original 13 colonies. And back when North Carolina, when people first came here, they saw that there were a lot of pine trees. And pine trees have certain properties that were useful in shipbuilding. And they were tar. They would process these trees for tar, turpentine, and pitch. And ships back then, of course, were wooden. And so all of these things were used in shipbuilding. And exactly why it's Tar Heel, I'm not quite sure. I think actually it was sort of a negative nickname. And people decided, that sounds good. That's what we'll call ourselves. We'll be Tar Heels.
And now they're called Tar Heel. I didn't know that, so I learned something new today about North Carolina. Tell me a little bit about the weather. What is it like today?
Well, luckily we're having very nice spring weather. And so I'm very happy about that. The sun is shining and I think the weather is, I think it's going to be nice and warm today. And so I'm happy about that. But the one problem with spring in North Carolina is beautiful because we have a lot of trees and a lot of flowers. And so now everything is blooming. But unfortunately, I'm allergic to a lot of those things. And so if I start sneezing, just excuse me. And it just is my spring sneezing. And so hopefully that won't happen until we get off of our talk.
I know that happens a lot. Spring is beautiful, but it brings all the pollen and all the allergies. Before we continue, I would like to let you know where people are watching us from today.
Oh, great.
Ina saying hello from Buenos Aires. We have Fanilo saying hello from Madagascar. We have Tendero saying hello from Japan. We have Darlene saying hello from Peru. We have Amen saying hello from Libya. Mina saying hello from Algeria. We also have Luis Alfonso saying hello from Nicaragua. Yolanda is watching us from Tarija, Bolivia. We have Sayora saying hello from Tajikistan. We have Suha from Jordan, Olga from Ukraine, Firman saying hello from Bonjour, West Java. We have Kamla saying hello from Laos. We have Hyun Lee saying hello from Vietnam. Fanilo saying hello from Madagascar. Juan Manuel saying hello from Colombia. Yin Yor saying hello from Malaysia, Carl from Taiwan, Carl from Haiti, and Denise from the American corner in Italy. So this is just the name.
Oh my goodness.
I know we have people watching us from all over the world. I also wanted to point out a few comments and questions that we received in our Facebook page. We have Licinia asking you a question. And he's elated to see you here. And the question is there one thing she wants to change or improve in the city? And what would that be? And why do you think it is important to change it? We also have Razia saying the last session was superb and
Oh,
this
great.
is a great opportunity to have you here. And we have Merita asking, I know that Lynn has traveled and worked in many other countries apart from the States. Is there anything she misses from living and working abroad? So we have lots of questions, but we're gonna get started with Greensboro, North Carolina. That is where
Okay.
you currently live. And I wanna ask you, what is something special and unique about Greensboro?
Well, Greensboro, as I said earlier, North Carolina was one of the original colonies. And so Greensboro was settled during that time and during the colonies. And one thing that I think is special about Greensboro is that there are 2 universities and 3 colleges here. And I don't think that a lot of cities can say that. And so would you like for me to tell you about those colleges or the universities?
Yes, I think you mentioned there is one important college.
Right.
Talk about it.
Well, actually, there are 2. One is called the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Both of these universities began in the late 1800s. And UNCG, as it's called, was actually started to train white women to be teachers. And so this was very important because women didn't have a chance to go to college then. Now UNCG is a research university with 20,000 students. And so it has grown from then. And the other university that's important here is North Carolina A&T. And this university was started about the same time the other one was. And it was, its purpose was mostly to train Black men to have an education and to have to be able to advance in jobs, which were, and again, education, higher education period, higher education had not been available before that time. And so these are both very important milestones, I think, and they happened in Greensboro. And now, let's see, I had to write this down because I knew I wouldn't remember. North Carolina A&T today is 12,000 students. And they, again, are a major research university. And so, and I think their biggest claim to fame now is their School of Engineering. I think it's quite well known.
Wow, so you have 2 very important universities there, as well as all the amount of students the universities bring. Is there a special festival or event that is famous in your hometown?
There are several, but I will talk about 2 of them. Does that sound good? Just 2? Okay. Well,
Sounds good.
okay. Well, the first one has taken place for the past 60 years, and that's 60, the past 60 years, except for last summer. And it's called the Eastern Music Festival. It takes place at Guilford College, one of the 3 colleges in Greensboro. And it is a classical music festival. And it brings young people from ages around 14 to 23 and they work with specialists in whatever their instrument is. They give some free concerts, some concerts you have to buy tickets for, but oftentimes the free concerts will be on a Sunday afternoon, maybe in front of this building right here at Guilford College. And so that's quite a special thing. And they are hoping to have it this summer, but they did say that it wouldn't be quite as big as it usually is. And then let's see, can we look at another slide?
Yes.
Let's see.
So before we go into the next slide, it's great to see that it's a festival that has classical music. You always think of festival just having other kinds of music, but this is classical music.
Right.
Tell us about this picture. This looks lovely.
Okay. Well, and so it's actually like a summer camp for these kids. And they have a chance to perform. And now, so this one I'm not sure how long this festival has gone on, but this is called Parisian Promenade. And it takes place in one of our beautiful parks, one of our beautiful city parks in Greensboro. You can see, how green it is. And there are a lot of flowers in this park. It's a fairly manicured park. But so in June, every year, except for last year, They have the Parisian Promenade, and they have sidewalk artists. They have like these young women on these stilts with these beautiful costumes. They have musicians. They have activities for families, for children. And one of the things that they have is called a poodle parade. And so if you own a poodle, you can bring your poodle and they'll have a little poodle parade. They have sidewalk cafes, and it's just a beautiful place to spend an afternoon. And and another thing that they do is usually there's a French teacher who is there to teach a few words of French. So you can learn to say bonjour and that sort of thing.
Wow,
So yeah,
that's really cool. It's like, yeah, bringing Paris into Greensboro, North Carolina. That sounds lovely.
Right. Yeah, and it's just fun. I think everybody has a good time. People just stroll around and just enjoy themselves. So
enjoy some good food and learn some new words. Always something
right.
to do, right?
Right.
So, Lynn, I want to ask you a little bit about an important landmark in Greensboro, and why is it important?
Okay. And so again, I thought of two that I think I would like to talk about. As I've said before, North Carolina was a colony. And so Greensboro was not really a town during that time. It was a place called Guilford Courthouse. And on March the 15th, 1781, there was an important Revolutionary War battle here. And so the area where that is now a park. You can see it's called the Guilford Courthouse National Military Park. And so you can see, and so they have every year, except not last year. I feel like I say that so much, not last year. They have a reenactment of the battle. And so what that means is that there are people who dress up in uniforms. They dress up in clothing like people wore in the 1700s. Women and children, they have tents. They cook on an open fire. And so they reenact, they pretend like they're living during that time period. And it's really quite an interesting historical event. And it takes place, as I said, now this is a park. And so it's a lovely park with, as you see, lots of trees, and you can hike on the trails, you can have a picnic, you can walk your dog. And so it is also there for the public.
That is wonderful. I love when they do reenactments because it's kind of like having a live-in museum. You can actually see what people dressed like and lived like in those times.
Right. And the people who do the reenactments, they often really know quite a bit about the history of the event that they're acting in. And so it's interesting to talk to them. And some of them will even pretend like that they're that person and not themselves. And so it can be quite interesting.
Yeah. And what is the other place that you mentioned that that is a landmark in your
Well, the other place that's a landmark is it's now called the International Civil Rights Center and Museum. And so this is a more current historic site. You'll see in the picture the sign that says F.W. Woolworth. Well, that is I don't know if Woolworth still exists, but this one does not. And Woolworths was a department store, and they had a lunch counter. And so this particular Woolworths store is famous and was turned into a museum because in 1960, four students from North Carolina A&T, four Black students from North Carolina A&T, came and staged a peaceful sit-in at that lunch counter. And that was the first, I believe it was the first lunch counter sit-in of the civil rights movement. And so that is also a remarkable landmark in our city.
That is wonderful that they have kept it so nicely and that people can visit and kind of learn a little bit more about the civil rights movement in our country.
Right.
So thank you so much for sharing. I have some questions and comments from our audience. So I would like to ask you the first question that we had from Lizina, and what is something that you would like to change?
Greensboro is a city, a medium-sized city of about 300,000 people, and it's sort of spread out. It's not like a city like Chicago or like New York. It's sort of a spread out city, and we do not have good public transportation. And there are buses, and they have, I think they're hybrid buses. So, they're trying to go green, but the buses don't run very often. And so it's really difficult to live here if you do not have a car. And so I would like to see that change.
Yeah, I can see why. And Lynn, we have another question from Merita saying that you have traveled and lived in so many different places. What is something that you miss about living and working abroad?
Was that the question from Marita?
Yes.
Hi, Marita. How are you? The thing that I miss is meeting people like Marita and like Liz and all the other wonderful people I have met in my various travels, and then just seeing the different places and learning about the different countries. Before I went to Albania, which is where Marita is from, I knew nothing about Albania. And so it was nice being somewhere where I could learn something, because I'm a teacher, and so like most teachers, I like to learn. So
yes. Oh, so Lynn, thank you so much for being here today. Believe it or not, we have already past our time here.
oh my goodness.
I know, 15 minutes went by so fast. We have a lot of comments and people saying that they love the fact that in Greensboro they have French festivals and people want to bring their French poodles and practice some French. And some people who speak French are saying, oh, this is a great place to be and come and visit.
Yeah. Yes, come, welcome.
Yes. We have Karina saying that she wishes she could come and visit this nice place. So you have inspired some people today to come and visit Greensboro, North Carolina. Thank you so much, Lynn, for sharing your story with us today. We would like to thank our audience for such a lively engagement and participation. We hope you all continue to engage with us with our resources in our social media pages, our YouTube channel, and our website, americanenglish.state.gov, that has tons of resources for you to practice English. So thank you so much, Lynn. It's been a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Well, it was nice to see everybody, or for you to see me. I can't see anybody. It was nice. Thank you for coming.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again in a couple of weeks for our next session of Faces and Places across the United States. We encourage you to continue to engage with our community virtually like you have done today. Bye, everybody, and thanks for watching.
Bye.